What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of our Kings related podcast, wherever you may be. Thank you, as always, for joining me for another edition of the show. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you give us a follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever podcast platform you prefer. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. In this matinee Sunday game between two lottery-bound teams, someone unfortunately had a win. And the Kings and the Brooklyn Nets, they both sat in third and fourth place in the lottery standings coming into this game. And the two teams competed to the bitter end. It was closer than I think most people realize. But the Kings came away with the 126-122 victory to move to 19-53 on the season, and a big game from rookie Maxime Raynaud. And this game, it did go down to the wire towards the bitter end. But if you are one of those in the tanking crowd, this was a tough game for you, as now the Brooklyn Nets have a game and a half lead on the Kings in the draft lottery race. This was a bad win for the Kings to get. But if it's one thing that this team and Doug Christie have made clear, that they have no intentions of tanking or losing on purpose, like we've seen Utah, Brooklyn, Washington, or Indiana do this season. Like, they are going to come out, give it their all, and fight with whoever is on that basketball court that they're playing. And on the downside of this game, you lose Nick Clifford to an ankle injury, Killian Hayes to a toe injury. But outside of those, the revolving door of the injury woes, this was a solid game with some good takeaways from a Kings perspective. You had Malik Monk, who had a game-high 32 points, 6 assists off the bench, showing that he can still light it up and catch fire with the best of them. But as we know, since the deadline, the focus for this team is on the young guys and the players like Maxime Raynaud, who made another strong case to be that starting five next season as his breakout stretch continued. And no, he didn't extend his 30-point streak like he had against San Antonio or Philadelphia, but he finished this afternoon with yet another double-double against, yes, it's the Brooklyn Nets, bad team, but he had 22 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block on an impressive 10 of 13 shooting from the field. 7% in this game. And no, he didn't take any threes like he did in the last 2 games where he had 9. But I thought he looked great because he was able to get to his spots and get great looks all game long. And get this, over the last 5 games, Maxime Raynaud is averaging 23 points, 8 rebounds, while shooting 65%. And that is key, because today there was no Russell Westbrook in this game. And because Westbrook was out, and those two, with him and Max, who have developed a nice connection in that pick and roll, In the games that Westbrook does not play, we've seen Max struggle and his numbers plummet in those games. But not in this game this afternoon against the Brooklyn Nets. Raynaud is looking he has looked more comfortable in the offense here as we go down this stretch of the season coming to an end. And we're starting to see this team use Max more than just as a pick and roll threat in the offense. That will be key for his development going forward for this team, because being great in that pick and roll, it's one thing, but if Max can blossom and have an all-around offensive game, he could be a potential all-star. So he could be a starting guy instead of just a rotational piece on this team next season. So Scott Perry and this team, they have no shortage of questions to answer as the Kings enter the offseason after the final game next month. But rising to the top of that list is what to do at the center position, because for a team that was so guard heavy to begin this season, the center position has quickly become the position of strength for this team, and one that could be long jammed even more than the guards you had at the start of this season. Because it's easy to forget with this season the way that it has gone. Domantas Sabonis is still one of the best players in the NBA, and the Kings will have, and this team will have to decide if they want to pair Sabonis and Max together and have them stagger in the rotation, or if they want to lean into Max and move the All-NBA center in Sabonis. And the time for those decisions are looming this offseason. So is this the beginning of the Max Raynaud era as the starting center for the Sacramento Kings? Are we getting closer to that than we thought at the beginning of this season? It's with every passing game, Max is making that case even more difficult as we end this forgettable season that is Kings basketball. So John Calipari is in the building for this game, sitting courtside, while Malik Monk, one of his former players at Kentucky, went off in this game. Precious Achiuwa, I thought, had another solid performance for the Kings. He hit the glass hard, put up 15 rebounds to go with 14 points in this game. And Precious's versatility on both ends of the floor continues to be the story. And hopefully he's not a one and done here in Sacramento, but I kind of feel that he might, because he might have some very strong suitors this offseason in free agency. So I hope this is not the last we see of Precious for this season. With Killian Hayes injuring his toe, you had Nick Clifford took over the point guard duties in that third, and like Precious Achiuwa, Nick, he is proving to be versatile on this team that needs flexibility. 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists before Clifford rolled his ankle late in this game. Devin Carter, who missed the last several games, he returned up in this matchup against Brooklyn. I thought he played fine. 27 minutes off Sacramento's bench, 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. And this is an opportunity for Devin to shine, especially with the injuries to Hayes and Clifford in this game. Doug McDermott, Patrick Baldwin, they each hit some threes off the bench for Sacramento. And that duo combined, 5 for 6 from downtown for 18 total points in this game. And the Kings bench overall shot 12 of 23 from 3 compared to the starters who shot 2 for 4 in this afternoon game against the Brooklyn Nets. And whether you like it or not, the Kings, they win. Not a great win for Sacramento if you're looking from a lottery aspect. So the Kings, they now hit the road for 5 games for the final road trip of this season. That will take them to, I believe, the first game for the Kings. Just here looking at the schedule for Sacramento, they go to Charlotte, Orlando, Atlanta, Brooklyn, and then they end the road trip in Canada to take on the Toronto Raptors. And then they come back home to face the Pelicans, the Clippers, and then they're on the road in San Francisco to take on Golden State. Back home for the final home game of the season against Golden State. And then the final game of this season, April 12th in Portland against the Blazers. So that's all we have left for this forgettable season for the Sacramento Kings. Thank you as always. That will do it for this post-game recap of the Kings' win against Brooklyn. If you enjoyed this podcast, give us a follow on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast platform you prefer. We are a video podcast on Spotify and YouTube. So by all means, please catch that video feed. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. And we will see you next time following the Hornets and the Kings for another post-game recap. But thank you as always for joining me on the Kings related podcast. And as always, go Kings and light the beam.